in a sign of progress. After months of gridlock, Hamas says that it will send a delegation to Egypt to continue ceasefire talks. Hamas is demanding a complete withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza and a permanent end to the war. Israel wants to see all remaining hostages set free. And this comes as Israeli officials say one of the remaining hostages is already dead. They believe Dror Or was killed October 7th and that his body is being held in Gaza. Meanwhile, Turkey has announced that it is halting trade with Israel over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. We now go to Frank Gardner with our partners at the BBC. He is in Jerusalem right now to get sort of the latest. Frank, thanks for joining us. Hamas has said that it will send a delegation to Egypt for further ceasefire talks. Where do negotiations currently stand?
Well, good morning, Emery. The deal is still in play. No one has officially commented on it yet, but we do know what roughly the terms are, which you mentioned there. Israel has softened its demands. It's lowered the number of hostages from 40 down to 33 that it's expected to ask to come out of Gaza. And it's also going to permit the return northward within the Gaza Strip of very large numbers of displaced Palestinians. Now, the Hamas haven't yet, their team still hasn't arrived in Cairo. So, you know, if your question is how are the negotiations going, the answer is they haven't started yet. But I think the sticking point for Hamas is that they worry that they will hand over these hostages. It won't be all of them. It'll be about a third of those who are thought to still be alive. And then they're going to get hit with a massive assault in the city of Rafah. So they want to see a permanent end to the fighting, they say, and Israel's not yet prepared to commit to that.
We heard from Benjamin Netanyahu was that with or without a deal, they were going in for a ground invasion of Rafah. But as you point out, negotiations have yet to restart, so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, Israeli officials have confirmed that another hostage who was kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th is dead. What more can you tell us about this person?
Right. So this is somebody called Dror Or, who is 49 years old, father of three. Both he and his wife, Yonat, were killed on October the 7th. They are from one of the kibbutz, one of the collective sort of communes very close to the Gaza border, a place called Kibbutz Be'eri. And it's a really tragic story. I mean, all the hostage stories are tragic. This one is particularly so because their children are orphans now. They've got teenage children. Two of those were let out in November. And this kind of really brings into focus the question of what is the best way to get the hostages out. Now, every night here in Jerusalem, I drive past quite large numbers of relatives of the hostages, all holding up placards, signs saying, bring them home. They don't think that military pressure is working. They want a deal. But the hardline right-wingers in the government here are saying no deal or we leave the government, we will walk. They want to see a big military attack on Rafah, whereas wiser heads have said that is a pretty sure way to kill the remaining hostages.
I think you are so right, reminding us all of the people who are being held hostage, who have not come home. You know, at some point, Hamas suggested that they may not even know where all the hostages are. So it is dire. Time is running out. Frank Gardner, thank you very much.